everybody, Palm Springs Cindy. I am sitting here at my dining room table. I have I have something to share with you, and then another thing that I want to talk to you guys about. So I want to let you know that today the gentleman came to install my new draperies. You can kind of see them over here. I'm going to show them to you. They're so beautiful. And then they went into my den to install my den drapes, and they got the hardware up, but then they told me that they weren't able to make the drapes because they didn't order enough material. So, hopefully, who knows when I'll get those. And then I also got an email from the company where I'm buying these two darling chairs from for my office to say that they won't be in now until the end of December. So I'm just, I just don't get it. But there's not, I have absolutely no power. And another thing I noticed, the headboard and the two pillow shams that I ordered from Pottery Barn, they are now on sale. And so I'm going to negotiate with Pottery Barn. I still don't have mine, and I think I should pay the sale price. So that I do not think that is unreasonable. Poppy's right behind me, and she's got one of those quick toys. Okay, I wanted to let you guys know that I got my drapes today, and I'm going to show you around. My house still no way done, but the drapes added so much personality that I'm so excited that I want to share them with you guys. Then I also had put an ad in Next Door, I think that's the name of it, Neighbor or Next Door, and to say that I was looking for someone to help me with my housework. I didn't know, I had Maria for so many years, like 40 years. And we just jived. She knew me, I knew her, she knew where everything was. And so, my daughter's using her now, but now that I'm no longer in Palm Springs, I'm too far away to have her. So anyway, I thought, well, maybe if I could just use someone even twice a month to do some of the heavy lifting, like mop the floors. And, well, let me tell you, it's unbelievable. So I put that little notice in the ad in that Next Door. Well, that evening I got like 4 or 5 gals that said, they were interested. We didn't talk price or anything like that. So one of them came over today, and she came over about 11, and so I said, now if it works out, be ready to stay today if that's okay with you. So she said, yeah. So anyway, she came in and we negotiated prices and chit-chatted a little bit. I showed her around the house. Well, today she did a deep clean. And I mean to tell you, you guys, my house looks brand new. My shower looks brand new. I'm not kidding you. She got rid of every kernel of dirt and dust in my home. She cleaned off all the baseboards. She wiped off the top of the ceiling fans. She cleaned my shower truly it has never looked since the day that I moved in. And well, anyway, she did every room. She did everything. She mopped floors. She vacuumed. She cleaned things I didn't even. I sat down and I thought, oh my gosh, she totally cleaned that. So it was wonderful. And so I'm going to have her every other week. I do nothing but housework, it seems like. And then if I'm not doing housework, I'm out in the yard hosing stuff down. So anyway, I'm delighted. I'm hoping that it's going to work out. So that's one thing I wanted to share. I am so thirsty. I must have eaten something really salty today. Because you know how it kicks in how thirsty you are. Feeling 100% better. I'm still a little bit of water works, but I'm doing fine. Okay, then I also put an ad at the same time about I needed someone to wash this giant window that I have right here, and the other windows inside and out. And so, well, Patricia thought she was going to do it, and I said no. That I didn't want her to do it. It's too much. It was certainly too much all in one day. So anyway, I have a gentleman coming to do that, but it's raining today. So we text each other, and he said, shall we postpone that? And I was like, yes. Like I mentioned, it's raining. I just got my car washed yesterday late afternoon. And now today it's raining. So I only wash my car if I know that it's going to start raining the next day. A very dear friend of mine who will remain nameless, I got a text yesterday morning, and the gal said in the text, "I guess you have heard, and if you haven't, I'm gonna tell you." And I texted her back. I said, "What? I haven't heard. I've heard nothing." Well, she said, "I guess you've heard about." I'll call her X. I guess you've heard about X. And I said, "No, I have." Okay, text her back. "No, I haven't. I have heard nothing." She texted me back and she said, her 22-year-old daughter was killed that morning in a car accident. Well, I have no words, and neither do you guys. None of us have any words. So I got dressed, showered, got dressed, and well, first of all, I called X, and it just said what happened. When did you find out? I'm coming over. I'm bringing food. I'm doing whatever. Is there anything that you can tell me you want before I head out? And so, bottom line, the mom and dad are just in shock. The family is in shock. I think we're all a little bit in shock. So I did just that. I got dressed, and in my mind I was thinking, what should I bring? And so I just ordered some food, had it delivered there. I got there. The mom and dad were not there. I got there, and when I walked in, there were other people going ahead of me walking into the house. And so when I got there, there were just two other gals, three, that were from our church, and they were cleaning the refrigerator out, making room for some of the food people were bringing, getting out trays and plates and stuff. So, and I said, "Well, where is X and Mr. X?" And they said they went to pick up the kids. The kids don't know about it. They went to pick up the other kids from school. I know. And then they're bringing them. Everybody's coming over to the house. Pastor's coming over, Pastor Steve, and we'll be praying, and then my friend Shelly said, and they want us to be here. The mom and dad, X and Mr. X, want us to stay here, because I thought maybe I'll just go drop food off and leave. I didn't really know what to expect, so I stayed. And there was a fairly small group of us. So mom and dad get home with the kids, and pastor's there, and we prayed before they got there. The three of us ladies, and there were cousins and stuff there. So we prayed before X and Mr. X got there with the kids. So then when they arrived, they took the kids into the living room. We stayed in the kitchen, and Pastor and Mr. and Mrs. X sat the kids down. And it was just horrible. It was horrible because you could see into the living room. And, they started, Sissy was in an accident, and then I think Pastor Steve said, she didn't make it. And it was like, oh my gosh. So then after they told the kids, then everybody started crying. And nobody was wailing or anything like that, but crying. Then it was like spiritually powerful. We huddled together, because when you start praying and lifting people in prayer, you put your hand out, or you put your hand on their shoulder, or you have to be sensitive to touching someone. But we already knew each other and everything, so we were able to touch one another, hold one another's hands. We prayed, we prayed, we prayed. Then one of the gals, Carly, who's our praise and worship leader, she broke out into Amazing Grace, and she sang Amazing Grace. It was beautiful. And we just spent a lot of time in prayer. Then after the prayer broke up, Mom and Dad and the kids were starving, so that we heated up plates and fed them. And then they were some people were kind of coming and going. I got a seed. Some people were coming and going. Now, the 22-year-old daughter, has siblings, and one of the older siblings that they were close, and so that child was not, taking it well at all. Well, who's going to take it well? So at any rate, relatives were arriving with their kids, and so I offered my house. I said, I've got a spare bedroom and bathroom that, your relatives or friends or whoever's driving in from out of town, they're welcome to stay with me. And so they said, a couple came up to me and said, can we? And I said, absolutely. So then I stayed for a while. Did the dishes and whatever, wiped off the countertops. Then I said, I'm going to go because I think I have dishes in my sink. So I'm going to get my area tidied up. And I gave them my directions to the house and all that. Well, then I even thought, tomorrow, meaning today, I knew that the guys were going to come and do the curtains, and I knew I was going to be housebound today. So I thought, they could even use my car. So before I came home, I got my car filled up with gas. I had it washed. I get home, and then today it rains. Okay. Well, in the meantime, I got a text from X, and they said no, that the kids decided everybody wants to stay together tonight, and so I was not going to have visitors, and so that was fine too. So at any rate, I just wonder, it's just so tragic. And, of course, I think about my child, my daughter, if and when she was 22, if she had been killed in a car accident. Not just that, but even now, no one wants to entertain those thoughts. And the fact that someone that I care so much about is going through this, it's very, very painful, and it's very emotional. So anyway, but the good news is that we're because of the church family, they have support. They're not alone. They will have help doing whatever needs to be done. So I like that, and I think that's so important. And I had a really nice talk with my pastor, because I have not been going to church ever since COVID. I just got out of the habit. And then I moved, and it's kind of farther away than before. And so I talked to my pastor, Pastor Steve, and he was, he was really good with me. He said, well, at least you're honest about it. Because he said, well, I'm sure you're still in the Word. And I said, nope, I'm not reading the Bible at all. He says, well, I'm sure maybe you've been looking into other churches. I was like, nope, I did go to a couple, but they're not for me. And so he said, well, at least you're honest. And so he prayed over me that I would have, the Holy Spirit move me in that direction, get myself back to church. And I will, because the whole X scene, Mr. and Mrs. X, that was very, very touching as I watched my sisters in Christ come together and do what, just help, be there for her and her family. So that's the sad thing that I needed to share. I kind of needed to talk about it. So I'm glad you guys are here for me. All right, are you ready to see my? I'm gonna take a little video, maybe some pictures, and then I'll attach it to this. It's a short video, excuse me, but I did want to just stop by. I needed to talk about my friend, and I wanted to share my drapes. So with that, P.S. I love you. Mwah. Until our next conversation. Bye-bye. I was editing the video that I'm currently making, and as I was editing and I was watching the part where I mentioned how we were praying at Mr. and Mrs. X's home, and how spiritual that was, and how we were, we kind of had huddled together and or were holding hands with one another. I just felt like I needed to explain it, give you more of a picture of what that really was like. So as we were standing together, sort of like in a little circle, our heads were bowed, our eyes were closed, and, we prayed. People just kind of jump in and pray. And, people would pray for all the things that you would think. So like, we would say, Lord, we give this family your peace, that you say your peace passes understanding. So that's a promise from you. And we declare that over this family, that they would have peace. Lord, let this family have deep sleep and rest. Help them to feel refreshed and give them guidance in making the decisions that need to be made. Cover their finances. Make sure, Lord, that you say that you give us what we need, pressed down, shaken up, and overflowing. So that's something that we are asking, that you take care of this family. And this death has left a hole in their hearts. And, fill that hole with your spirit. Make their faith grow deeper. Help them not to withdraw their faith in you. Rather, let their faith get even deeper in you as you walk them through this. And frankly, Lord, don't just walk them through it. Carry them through this. Give them comfort. I wrote some things down. Give them comfort. Keep them safe. Let's see. Then we prayed directly for the father, that he would, that as sort of like the man of the household, that there would not be guilt of, because how men, well, as parents, it's our job to protect our children, although she was certainly an adult at 22, but we prayed that there would not be any guilt, or that this would be, we said, like, this death, this is a marker now in the lives of this family. And that, we asked that that the family would look upon her, remember her with fondness and with happiness, and not, just be drowning in their sorrow and sadness. So, and then I happen to love this particular prayer, and so this was something that I brought out, and I wrote it down. I'm going to read it to you. It's not very long. It's from John 14. Jesus is talking, and Jesus says, in my Father's house, there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. So I go now and prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come back again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, you may be also. So it was like, okay, Lord, you've said that you prepare a place for her, that there's a mansion for her in heaven, and that, if you go to prepare a place for her, then you're going to come back and get her and take her with you. And so part of why I like that verse is it gives me a visual of, Jesus coming, like if someone dies and then Jesus is there for us. Just come on, let me show you where you're going, kind of a thing. So the power of prayer is spirit-filled and powerful. During a crisis, a tragedy like this in the lives of in the lives of the people in this family, only the strength of our Creator is going to be able to get them through this. And not just get them through, but have them rise to their calling, rise in their life, walk upright, and not be downtrodden. So anyway, I just felt like I needed to give a little bit of an explanation, because I talked a lot about that we prayed here, we prayed there. Well, what does that look like? And so I hope that gives you a little bit of a visual. Okay.